All right, so let's sort of close the loop on our coverage of the Matt Gaetz situation. I told you last segment that Donald Trump had to be talked out of publicly defending Matt Gaetz because the believed allegations against him are so serious. Now, in the next segment, you will see that Matt Gaetz is still claiming that he has support from Donald Trump, but breaking this morning a report from CNN that Matt Gaetz tried to meet with Donald Trump and was denied such a meeting. It seems as though Donald Trump has been thoroughly convinced by his aides and staffers that Matt Gaetz is completely toxic right now. And actually, this fits very much within what we know about Donald Trump. And I'll get into that in a moment. The report from CNN is that Congressman Matt Gaetz, facing a federal investigation into sex trafficking allegations, recently was denied a meeting that he tried to get with Donald Trump at Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate as Trump and allies continue to distance from the Florida congressman. Two people familiar with the matter say that Gaetz tried to schedule a visit with Donald Trump after it was revealed that he was being investigated, but the request was rejected by aides close to Donald Trump, who, as I mentioned to you in the previous segment, are telling Trump, don't stick your neck out for this guy. Don't defend Matt Gaetz. Harlan Hill, who is a spokesman for Gaetz, is denying it and saying no such meeting was requested, and that actually Gaetz was welcomed to Trump Doral this weekend and didn't try to meet with Donald Trump. Now, my instinct is that this is, of course, if you're Matt Gaetz, you request the meeting through staff, and if it's rejected, the staff simply deny having requested it. And if you're Matt Gaetz, you can accurately say, I never requested anything. So if you say, well, how do I adjudicate the differences between the claims that are being made? It's quite obvious to me that this is exactly the way it would work if indeed Matt Gaetz quietly tried to get the meeting and it was rejected. CNN writes that the interference by Trump's aides signals that Gaetz is increasingly isolated as he weathers a potentially career-ending scandal, just months after he offered to leave his job to join Trump's impeachment defense team. Comedically, Gaetz joining the impeachment defense team may have been more substantive as far as, like Saturday Night Live writers are concerned. But this may actually be a much more interesting sort of going down in flames for Matt Gaetz. Now, you'll also remember that last week it was revealed and reported that Matt Gaetz tried to get a blanket preemptive pardon from Donald Trump at the end of Donald Trump's presidency. That has also been denied by Donald Trump, Trump claiming Gaetz did not ask me for a pardon. Again, with all of these things, it's possible that Gaetz staffers went to Trump staffers and said, would this work? Trump staffers would have said, he's not going to do that. And as far as Trump knows, it was never an official request. And so nobody's really lying. But the spirit of this is that Gaetz did want the pardon. That's often, in political speak, the way this is all orchestrated is to have that plausible deniability. Trump can say, I was never asked to pardon him. And that can be true, while it can also be true that Gaetz directed staff to feel out Trump staff as to whether it's something that might be possible. Now, the other kind of question about the meeting being denied between Gaetz and Trump is that Gaetz was at this event in Florida. And although he didn't meet privately with Trump, you would think that that has some meaning that he was still sort of allowed to participate. On the other end, what can Trump really even do for Gaetz at this point? I mean, it seems that at this point, the story is so out of the bag. Either Republicans' big picture are just going to start ignoring it and Matt Gaetz will be able to survive this and won't have to resign, or Gaetz is basically going to be done for. But beyond just repeating the same lies that Gaetz is telling, I don't really know what Trump can do for Gaetz at this point in time. When Trump was president, lying about himself to some degree worked. In another sense, it didn't, because Trump lost, and he lost the House for Republicans, and he lost the Senate. But it at least kept Trump afloat amid some scandals. Trump, as a former president, telling lies in defense of Matt Gaetz, it's not really clear to me that it would do very much. Now, one last thought on this before we move on to what Matt Gaetz is actually saying about all of these things. Loyalty is a one-way street with Donald Trump. Matt Gaetz was completely loyal to a sort of disgusting sycophantic level during Trump's presidency. But Gaetz is no longer useful to Donald Trump. Once you're no longer useful to Trump or you have your own problems, Trump tosses you aside like he's done to so many people in his life eventually. It's always just a matter of time. So that's the latest from Trump. Let's now look at some of the very strange things that Matt Gaetz said.